أولى ثانوي. فرصة جديدة وحلم جديد وهنعديها بالتأكيد، وهنعديها بالتأكيد. أولى ثانوي.
Welcome dear student to our channel Madrasetna 3 under the supervision of Ministry of Education. أعزائي طلاب الصف الأول الثانوي، أهلا بكم في حلقة جديدة من تدريس الأحياء باللغة الإنجليزية تحت إشراف وزارة التربية والتعليم. Dear student, in this episode we will study, inshallah, another lesson that's related to gene interaction. It's called lethal gene. Okay, follow me, please, pay attention. Learning outcome that related to this lesson. By the end of lessons, a student should be able to, number one, identify the type of lethal genes, dominant or recessive. Number two, compare between dominant and recessive lethal genes. Okay? Justify why the lethal gene led to death. That's right. Okay. What does it mean of lethal genes? Lethal genes finally led to death. Why? The lethal genes, it's led to death as the result of the gene interactions. Appearance, these genes lead to disruption, the vital process, and lead to death. Starting with definitions of the lethal genes. They are the inherited trait, okay, found in pure state. Pay attention, please, in this point. Pure state, dominant or recessive. Harm living organism. As the result in disruptions, the vital process, lead to finally death. Again, pay attention, please. Lethal genes. They are the inherited genes found in pure state, pures, not hybrid, not heterozygous. Found in the pure state, dominant or recessive. Harm living organism as the result of or resulting in disruptions, the vital process finally led to death. Okay. They are the inherited genes when found in pure state, dominant or recessive. They causes harm to the living organism, resulting in the disruption of some vital process and leading to the death of the living organism in different stage of life, representing 25 of the offspring. When a mating between first generations, okay, the result individuals. Death as the result of the lethal genes, that's represent 25%. It is death inside the uterus of the females. Okay, that's right. Now we are going to focus upon the types of the lethal genes. That's right. Type of lethal genes. Number one, dominant lethal genes. Okay, gene of yellow fair color in mice. This is a dominant lethal genes. Appearance is a dominant gene in pure state. Y capital, Y capitals. All mice that have two genes, Y capital, Y capital, death inside the uterus of the females. As the result of both of two genes, the capital letter YY, working together, disruptions the vital process inside the embryo of the mice, finally lead to death. That's right. Another type of the dominant lethal genes. Baldage strains in the cows. There is the dominant lethal gene. This is the related to, as mentioned, the dominant lethal genes. Recessive lethal genes. Gene of absence of the chlorophylls in the corn plant. Why is the chlorophyll absent in the corn plant? Both of two recessive genes, for example, C small, working together to appearance of or non-formations of the chlorophylls. Finally, the plant lead to death. Why? Because the chlorophyll responsible for absorbing the light intensity and transfers the light energy into chemical energy, producing organic compound sugars. That's very important to nutrients in the plant. So it's not found. That's finally lead to death. Another types of the recessive lethal gene, it's called infantile dementia. Infantile dementia in the human being. That means that when representing the infantile dementia, smalls, all the embryo, that's carriers, genes, small, both of them working together, disruptions the vital process. Some vital process is found in the embryo, and death inside the uterus of the females. Okay? Dominant recessive genes, gene of yellow fair colors in mice, gene of the bald strain in the cattle. Okay? Recessive recessive genes such as gene of chlorophyll's absence in the corny plant, gene of infantile dementia in the humans. That's right. Inheritance of the fair color of mice. These figures show mating of the male and the female mice. Each of them has heterozygous. Sure, heterozygous. No, yellow colors, Y capitals, it's not survive because it's death inside the uterus, because it's carrier 2 dominant gene, finally led to death. So it's called heterozygous, Y capital, Y small, Y capital, Y small. Both of them still live. Why? Because it's found in hybrid, not found in the pure state. This point very important, okay? And the ratio of the result generations was 2:1. What are the fair colors of the result? B, Y capital, Y small, generations, Y capital, Y smalls. What are the possible genotype of individual of this generations? Why do this result? This agree with the Mendel's first law. In the Mendel first law, the first generation would have been 100%. Second law, 3:1, 3 dominant, 1 recessive. But in heirs, 2:1, 2 yellow, hybrid, and 1 recessive gray, Y small, Y small. So what is the difference between first generation and second generations in the lethal genes? A comparison with the Mendel characteristic first law, it's called law of segregations. That's right. What is the percentage of lost mice first generations? Follow me. The death of pure yellow mice is attributed to both of 2 dominant genes working together, finally lead to disruptions of vital process and lead to death. Okay? Homozygous state causing death of the mice inside the mother uterus. Okay? This dead mice representing approximately or about 25% of individuals of the resulting generations. The inheritance of this disease takes place through heterozygous parents. These figures representing the mating between heterozygous individuals, Y capital, Y small, Y capital, Y small. Inheritance of fair colors in mice apply what do you learn? Follow me, please, and focus in these figures. Okay? Follow me, please, dear student. This is a parent. This is a heterozygous, yellow color fair. In mice, Y capital, Y small. Yellow color fair, Y capital, Y small, both male and female. Mating between them, take a gametes. Y capital, Y small. Y capital, Y small. Okay? Family 1. Y capital, Y capitals. Homozygous. Okay? Yellow mice die inside the mouth, the mother uterus. Okay? Sorry. Die inside the mouth uterus. Why? Because the 2 dominant gene, Y capital, Y capitals, working together to disrupt the vital process inside the embryo, so the embryo die inside the female uterus. Finally, the percentage is 2:1. Why is this? This is already a death inside the uterus, so that's representing inside the ratio. Finally, the ratio 2:1. You know, mice, but in heterozygous, not in pure state. If in pure state, finally lead to death. Why? Because the dominant gene must be found inside the uterus in the pure state. Dominant, Y capital, Y capital. That's right. Y capital, Y small, Y capital, Y small, Y small, small, gray. This yellow and the gray mice. Okay? Pay attention, please, and focus in this point. What is the percentage between the phenotypes in the dominant lethal gene and the recessive lethal genes? This is the 2 phenotypes, yellow and gray. Again, what is the percentage between the phenotypes in the dominant lethal genes and the recessive lethal gene? 2 phenotypes, yellow and the mice. But in the recessive lethal gene, only 1 phenotype. Only 1 phenotype. Why? Because the recessive is death. so it's found only one phenotypes. So the percentage between the phenotypes in the dominant lethal genes and the recessive lethal genes, 2 to 1. 2 phenotypes, 1 phenotype that found in the recessive lethal gene. That's right, okay? Inheritance of the absence of the chlorophyll in the corny plant. For example, this is the absence of the chlorophyll in the green corny plant, C capital C small. Green corny plant, C capital C small. Take a gametes at the same that occurs in the past and the last slides. Okay, take a gametes C capital C small, C capital C small. Okay, mating C capital, C capital, C capital C small, C capital C small, C small, C small. This is, well, death. Okay, why? Because it's the 2 recessive lethal gene working together to non-formations the chlorophyll. What does it mean by non-formation of the chlorophylls? Chlorophyll not found, not absorbing the light intensity. The photosynthesis process doesn't occur, not at all, so the nutrients in the plant is not formed. Finally, the plant wilt and die. That's right. Okay? The green seedling, 75%, white seedling, 25%. There is a focus in this point, please. There is only one phenotype. Green, green, green. So in comparison, the phenotypes in this recessive lethal genes and the phenotypes that found in the dominant lethal genes, one phenotype only, green, green, green. But in the dominant lethal gene, 2 phenotypes, gray and yellow. That's right. Okay? Another examples from the recessive lethal gene, it's called infantile dementia that's found in the human being. In some infants, okay, there is a genetic disease known as infantile dementia. Causes death when its genes are recessive, small. Okay, that's another types of the recessive lethal genes. Okay, what is the ratio of the chlorophyll-free green corny plant, C capital C small seedling among the planting of the result generations? What is your justifications for the wilting and death of this seedling? The convergence of the 2 recessive genes together in some corny seedling lead to prevent formation the chlorophylls. Chlorophyll substance acquired plant their characteristic green colors, as well as it's responsible for absorbing the light intensity energy for the performing the photosynthesis process. Okay, follow me again, please. Pay attention, please, dear student. Effect of the environmental conditions. What is the effect of the environmental condition on the plant, for example? Light intensity play an important role in the effect of the light. For example, cabbage. The outer surface of the cabbage is the blue-greens. The inner leaves of the cabbage is white. Why? Because it exposes directly to the light. So it's found in the chlorophyll. It's called leucoplast. As mentioned previously in the first term, what is the type of the chloroplast? Remember this point, please. Okay? Effect on environmental conditions on action of some genes. Many people thought that the action of gene is not affected by any other factors. Why? It is the environmental condition affects directly in the human being and the plant, all living organisms. Okay? But recent researchers have proven that the action of some gene is affected by the factors surrounding the organism, such as air pollutant, oxygen deficiency, exposure to rays, in addition to the environmental factors such as light and temperatures. Studying these factors affecting the action of gene helps in avoiding risk that's arising from these factors. That's right. Effect of the absence of the light appearance of the chlorophyll characteristic or characters in a green plant. Germinate a group of wheat or bean seed in dark rooms. Okay? Germinate a group of wheat or beans in dark rooms. Absence of light. That means that the light play an important role in the photosynthesis process. Concurrently with the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll absorbing the light intensity and transfers this light into chemical energy through process it's called photosynthesis process. Inshallah, we will discuss in next years. Okay, second stage. Okay, and another similarity in the group, lemons place irrigating the seedling in the both group regularly for several days. Irrigate several days. Okay, what is the color of the seedling in the both group? The presence of light in absence of the light. The gene responsible for the chlorophyll formation in the green plant need to the factors of light to show in these figures. These figures, comparison between the figure number 1 and 2, boots number 1, blue-greens, and the others, it's yellow. Okay? Finally, the figures number 2, absence of light lead to wilt and die. Why? Because the effect of the light as a factor from environmentals that affect directly the plant. Why? Because the light is essential for making the photosynthesis process. Effect of the light on the colors, wheat, seedlings effect. While in absence of these genes, the plant cannot producing chlorophyll even it was placed in light. That's right. Okay? Pay attention, please. These questions. 2 applied or understood these lessons, yes or no. When a crossing occurs between yellow mice, male and female, after multiple pairs, 18 yellow mice and 9 gray mice were producing. So what is the expected number of dead mice in the uterus? Pay attention, please. What is the percentage of the gray mice? It is 9 mice. This is represent 25%. That's right. This is the represent 25%. And the dead mice inside the uterus, that's represent 25%. So the number of dead mice inside the uterus that's represent Y capitals equal the gray colors that's represent 25%. So the number is 9. This mating it occurs, okay, 9 times. Each times give 2 Y capital Y small, Y capital Y small, and they give 25% from Y small gray. The number of the gray colors, yellow fairs colors, Y capital equals the number of the gray fair colors in the mice. So the number is 9. The best answer is 9. Okay? You understood it, please? Pay attention to me. And the second, choose correct answers. Choose the correct answers. What is the ratio between the number of phenotypes of the dominant lethal gene and of recessive lethal genes when crossing hybrid individual, respectively? The phenotypes that found in the dominant lethal genes, that represent 2. Why? Because the Y capital, death. Y capital, Y small, survive. Y small, survive. So there are 2 phenotypes. Y capital, Y small, that represents phenotype yellow. Y small, that represents the phenotypes gray. So in the dominant lethal gene, 2 phenotypes. But in the recessive lethal genes, C capitals, green. C capital, C small, green. But C small's absence of the chlorophylls, it is death. So only 1 phenotype found, C capital, C small. 1 phenotype, 2 genotypes. So the percentage between the phenotype and dominant lethal genes, that represent 2 phenotypes. And in the recessive lethal genes, it's 1 phenotype. The percentage is 2 to 1. The best answer is B. That's right. Dear student, now we are going to focus about this lesson through make abstract about this trait. It's called lethal gene through the light board. Please pay attention and follow me. Lethal gene. They are the inherited genes found in pure state. That means that dominant or recessive. Harm living organisms. Why? Resulting in disruptions, vital process, lead to finally death. For examples, number 1 is divided in 2 types. Dominant lethal gene and B, the 3% recessive lethal gene. In dominant lethal genes, gene of yellow fair colors in mice. These genes, the 3 represent 2 capital letters. When the 2 capital letter gene Y capital found in the mice in the embryonic stage will die inside the uterus if female. Why? Both of 2 genes working together due to the gene interactions finally lead to disruptions in the vital process. So the embryo is dead inside the uterus. For example, Y capital Y smalls mating with the Y capital Y smalls disappearance. And this gametes, take a gametes, Y capital Y small, Y capital Y small mating. Y capitals 25% death inside the uterus females. Why? Because of the dominant lethal genes it found in the pure state. But the hybrid Y capital Y small not death survive. Okay, and finally the gray colors fairs it is this. It survive, not death. Only this is this. So the percentage of the death it's represent 25%. For examples of recessive lethal genes. Recessive lethal genes, absence of the chlorophylls in the corny plant. When the 2 recessive genes it's connected, it's formed in the form of C small. This is recessive lethal genes. It's found forming gene interactions, prevent the formation of the chlorophylls. So the process it's called photosynthesis process, not formed. So the absorbing of the nutrient doesn't occur and the nutrients doesn't occur. Finally, the plant wilt and die. For example, gene of absence of the chlorophyll in the corny plant. The 3%, these parents, C capital C small, mating with C capital C smalls. This is the gametes, C capital C smalls, C capital C small. Take a gametes. This is the green. This is the green. This is the green. This is the will die. Type. Please pay attention, please, in this point. What is the percentage between the phenotypes in the dominant lethal gene and the phenotypes in the recessive lethal genes? Phenotypes 2. Phenotypes 1. Phenotypes yellow, Y capital, Y small, Y capital, Y small, Y small, Y small. The 3% yellow. The 3% gray. So the 2 phenotypes. In this, 1 phenotype only. Green, green, green. Finally, absence of the color will die. So the percentage is the phenotypes 2 to 1 phenotypes. Okay, type. Okay. Dear student, thank you a lot for you. See you later. Goodbye.
أولى ثانوي فرصة جديدة وحلم جديد وهنعديها بالتأكيد